We're gonna get some entertainment before the show starts.
I know with the piano, right? If I only had stayed with my piano lessons. No one wants to hear bad like heart and soul. There we go. You could have, I could have done a duet.
All right, welcome everybody. It's everybody this evening. I am the proud principal Sean Rosen, Todo School, joined by our teacher on special assignment and tech and enterprise. And we, in years past, we've kindly found that there's a little bit of a hiccup between grades 5 and grade 6. We have one class with the curriculum which is kind of delivered in a more universal way. And as you see at the middle school, there are going to be multiple technologies. And so we want you guys to hit the ground running before the school year begins. So we're going to give you kind of an overview, a little bit of hints as far as monitoring your students' knowledge. And this is going to be the scary part. We're going to encourage you to slowly kind of step back a little bit to gain those skills where the student takes control over their own learning. So we're recording this tonight. We're going to be putting this on the website. We have our captions are in Spanish as well, so that we can reach as many people as we possibly can. There's going to be a large amount of time for you guys to ask questions, specific, and this is also going to be an ongoing thing. So this is just our launch before the school year to make. So during the registration roundup, we made our kids feel a little bit more secure, working their lockers and walking. This is your time so that you guys kind of have that confidence going into the school year and have kind of a baseline knowledge. And then we're going to leave you with some things that you can access online, which will continue the learning for tonight. So we just want to make sure you guys are armed and ready to go. So let's go ahead and start. And I'm going to be running back and forth because we have a number of people joining us online as well. But I'm not the talent here this evening. Mr. Gamble is the talent here this evening. He's going to go ahead and kick it off with our first slide of the evening.
You're going to have access to all of this stuff. I'll show you where you can find it online, so you don't need to panic and write down, wait, what website was that? I'll show you where all of this is, and you can access this slideshow. So one of the main things we want to focus on is there's a distinction, excuse me, between these two. So Google Classroom, as Mr. Roach called it, where you link into at the moment learning, where the assignment is, and Synergy is just the grades. Those are two separate things. We'll go more in depth into that. But if you want to see what the grade was on the assignment, then you go to Synergy. If you want to see what the assignment was and all the information, then you go to Google Classroom. Both of them claim they can do each other's jobs, but they're meant as two separate things.
Guys, does that make sense to you? If it doesn't, that's okay. So the Google Classroom is the in the moment learning. So your scope for the week, this is due on Tuesday, this is due on Thursday, those kind of notifications are going to come up with Google Classroom. Once the grade is complete, it's a Nicky word in education, but it's when the grade is done and in the book, that's when you check Synergy. So if you really want to know what's going on in the moment, so you're going to check Google Classroom for all of this. Just want to make sure.
So Google Classroom kid and Google Classroom parent, so there is a Synergy parent here.
So you can, yeah, I'll show you with that. But in Google Classroom, as a parent, you can go in and look at it. To use the Google Classroom parent? Yes. Yes, you can.
I think that being said, I think it's a good opportunity to have more students show you what is
Precisely.
there.
Okay. The parent site kind of gives you a bigger overview, as Mr. Roach was saying. You'll want to use the student one to really see that.
We're doing our best.
I'm wondering if I have to look at it.
And you guys, we're gonna touch on this a little bit in later slides, but I think it's a really good opportunity for you guys, maybe weekly, maybe bi-weekly, to sit down with your student and kind of roadmap the week. I do that myself, I do that with my family, and it's a really good way on Mondays to just say, okay, this is what we're looking for the week, and begin to teach those skills of taking ownership of their own learning and having them begin to plan out, like, when I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. So, and that's what middle school is all about, you guys, really learning those skills of prioritizing work, sure that they're on top of their work, and taking that personal responsibility. Now, we're not gonna show them off a clip in sixth grade, but it's a real good opportunity to begin to kind of coach them all out. Oh, yes. That's
Which road is? Take it. Okay, so here's some of the educational technologies we talked about. This is the one PGMS Toolkit. We built this during the quarantine and we've been using it ever since. So you can access this. This is, and actually here, let me show you. If you want to get to any of this, I'm going to jump there early. You go to pgusd.org, Pacific Grove Unified School District. And then parents, actually, excuse me, you're going to go up here to schools. And then you have PG Middle up here. We're going to click on that. And then students, and that's the very first thing right there that I was talking to you about, the PGMS Toolkit. So if you go to that, and I'll show you different ways to this. But when you go there, this is exactly what I just had up here. So digital citizenship, this is talking about some of this you'll see throughout this year when we're doing our social emotional learning, and then Google Classroom tutorials. So everything for Google Classroom. These are a bunch of small videos that we built, or actually, excuse me, we borrowed these first three and then we built some of the other ones, how to sign in. So if you have a specific question, and then towards the bottom of this, we just have pictures showing you what these are. So, because we use in every one of the classrooms here, we use Google Classroom. That's where all of our homework is put. And more each year, everything is done digitally. And then for our different, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is that again is the PGMS Tech Toolkit, where you can see that. And we broke it down by different, all of these. So in English language arts, we use StudySync. In history, and all 3 years, you're going to use TCI. And then in math, they use Desmos. If you're curious more about those, StudySync, you would just go there. And here we have some videos for you, like how to log in, and then some of the other major features that they'll use there. TCI, the teachers, every year, they're going to explain a lot of it, of what it is. So this just kind of gives you an overview there. And then math, the newest one that they use is Desmos. Mr. Roach and I talked to those teachers yesterday and said, great, what more videos can they put in? And they said, it's very user-friendly. A lot of you have already seen it. And so we just have this one right here, navigating the homepage, and that's going to take you to their website if you have any questions with that. But then here's some of the other items that they've used in the past that we put up there.
If I can jump in just really
Please.
quick, we're gonna put this slideshow up on the website, so you can access all this stuff with hyperlinks, the entire thing. Number two, in speaking with the folks from Desmos, they say that the parent component is not overly necessary, that the majority of the work is going to be done in the class, and then anything that spills out will be at home. So you don't have to as actively monitor Desmos as you would say TCI.
And then we have some of these other here, Screencastify and Edpuzzle. We're starting to do it more and more in classes that students will have an assignment, but they get to choose how to do it. And so those are two of them that are used quite a bit. So that's why we have those on there. And then where to find additional support. So I already showed you the first one again, but if you found this page and you go there, that's just going to take you to our district website. And then if you want to go to the schools, you go up here in the corner, click on those, and that takes you to, here's PG Middle. And then there's all the different stuff you can use. But students, we have all of these links for them. And a map of the school.
And if you have a kid in another school, it's a quick, easy way to navigate for all of them.
And so Google Classroom tutorials, that's actually just going to take you back to this. which I already showed you, but that if you want to just jump there, that's another way to go straight there. And then this synergy, here's some of the stuff that we're talking about, but I'll go back to that. Okay, so the first one, Google Classroom. Google Classroom was going to look like this. Most likely in every single class, you're going to have a Google Classroom account. And so you're going to navigate it like that. I'm going to now kind of go off of our website and show you what that looks like. So I have two different accounts up there. So this one, I'm in Mr. Avidizian's class. When you log in to Google Classroom, it takes you first to the stream. The stream, Google's idea with that is you're kind of like in a stream and you're watching everything float by and you're just kind of looking at it. You're not interacting with it too much, which is what they told us. That's why they called it stream. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they said. So this is kind of giving you an oversight. They're kind of explaining stuff here. Like this is Mr. Avidizian. He's a fantastic 7th grade English teacher. This was his last kind of big assignment. So all of that's going to be in the stream. However, when you go to complete and turn stuff in, it is not in the stream. That's going to be the second tab, classwork. So you're looking at it through the teacher's perspective right now. So this is what it looks like to him. To a student, when they go in, this is what it's going to look like to the student. So here's a student account that we have. This is one of my past history classes. And then here's Mr. Avidizian's. So they'll click on whichever class they want to go to. So stream, classwork, and then people, those are the other people in the class that if they want to communicate with them, sometimes teachers will leave that open so they can communicate with each other. Do you understand this assignment? I have questions. Sometimes teachers turn it off if the students are too busy just talking during class and not actually working. So when you go to do the classwork, this is where they go. So they're going to go here and then they go into the assignment itself. Click on that. Notice it says missing right here. That's because the child has not completed it yet, or the who I'm logged in as has not completed it. The what's that? Oh no, that's you. So this is where they're going to have like any of the assignment they're explained. So he's loaded a doc up here. And we're going to pull this up. And now you can read this. One of the common things, the reason why I'm pulling this up is as teachers, we'll go to open our email the next day and there'll be 100 requests to edit. When you see something like this, that's not meant for you to write over. This is the master copy. So they can't relinquish request to edit. Otherwise, when Mr. Roach is now typing on it, it's going to change it for everybody. So if you see that and there's the request to edit, that's something we don't need to do. Any questions on any of that so far? Sir?
So when your child comes home and there's a parent or check, what you have for homework, and we can go on with this, and whatever's on here, you feel confident that that's the current homework.
Yes.
I mean, I really, probably sometimes it's not updated, or is it usually?
For the week that we do the week of advance.
Okay.
And the week of advance is letting your student know, kind of what's coming up for the week. It's the grading portion that we're gonna need to give a little bit of.
Oh, that's not good. But what they should be doing is in.
Would be in there, absolutely. And at the 6th grade level, you guys too, we haven't completely divested from the old school techniques. And so your student, each student will get a planner. And it'll be a 5-day week planner. They'll be able to write in their planners and that kind of stuff. So that just adds kind of an additional level of checking. But it would be really great to be able to utilize this simply because you can do it on your phone.
And they're telling you the truth.
That is one of the checks.
Half the time. Yes. Trust but verify.
In Google.
Uh-huh.
My son's 8th grade, so he's been using it for a while.
Yeah.
But when they submit an assignment, can we go in and see what they submitted?
That is a great question. Okay, so this is, if I skip that, please throw something at me. So this is what Mr. Roach is talking about with the stream, that you'll see some teachers have, this is what you're going to do this week. So you can view that with the stream. But then when they go to do the actual assignment, so what assignment did I pull up? I pulled up this one. So we have the historical fiction narrative. if you want to kind of learn more about it, when we click on it, we just see a couple things right there. So we go to view instructions, and then here's what we're talking about. So we click on this and you can kind of see this is what the assignment is. Here's the background. Here's all that good information. Now, when I go to create my own, I need to go up here to add or create, and that's going to take me to Google Docs if I want to create it in there, Google Slides, Sheets, so forth. What we see with some students, what I know I would have done as if I had this, just what you were talking about, sir, was I want to play video games. My parents won't let me play video games until it's done. Mark is done, and I'm all done. I have not turned in anything, but on the parent view, like if you download the app and you look at it, mark as done. And then you get the report card and you're going, wait, what? Because Bryce claimed he turned it in. I did turn it in, but when my teacher, Mr. Avedisian, goes to look at it, there's just nothing there. So that's where Mr. Roach was talking about as a parent, and my poor twins, when they come here, I'll be doing that with them, of just standing over their shoulder saying, so what did that assignment look like? And then when they, well, I see you typed your name there. What else is on that? What else do we got on that doc? That's a great way to do that. Any questions on that? Yeah. Yes, they do. They have, in our classrooms, we have Chromebooks, and it's 1-to-1.
It doesn't travel with them, but it resides in every room, and every student is checked out a specific one for the period that
But they do not bring it home.
they do not.
Answered your question, right? Did I?
For that, can you view what they? said?
Oh, yeah, that, thank you. Okay, so look at that, no work attached. So you can unsubmit it if you say to not your child, but to me, like, okay, well, you didn't do it. Sorry. Unsubmit it, I would like to see it. Then when they don't have anything there, it's what's going on. So I would have need to go in here, open up a doc. And now it's going to create one for me. After it stops thinking about it. There we go. Oh, pull it up right there. And then here's another way that I could turn it in. So we will get these sometimes, just a blank doc. And when you're asking, can I see it? They can easily pull it up. And if they've turned it in, they could unsubmit it. And if it's before the deadline, turn it back in. The teacher can also see the time. So I've had students that have had just that of I turned it in on time, I swear, but then my parent wanted to see it, and okay, that's fine. Because we can see the timestamps of that.
Initially, though, guys, it wouldn't be a bad idea, especially on a major assignment, for you to maybe peruse it with the student before they turn it in. And maybe give feedback at that point. I think that's pretty a smart thing. Again, one of the themes we have this evening is to really kind of support the student, but also kind of start to back off a little bit so that when we reach high school, we're practice wire. So that's not a bad practice for you to kind of take a look at the work, make sure it's your student's best work. If there's anything that you have to add, because part of the educational experience, obviously, they get home as well.
So the child can turn it in. So I've typed something here. Hi, Mr. Avedisian, and I can turn it in from this way too. Google likes to give us multiple ways to do things. Now it's going to take me right here. You sure you want to turn it in? Yes, please. So now I've turned it in. From Mr. Avedisian's point, he can see now from his that one student has turned it in. When teachers grade these, they go through and grade them typically a day or so later. They don't come back and keep double checking this to see if your child has turned it in. And that's where, as a teacher, I'd get a lot of, well, I did do the assignment. I did it 3 weeks late, and the teacher never graded it. The teacher didn't grade it for the same reason most of us don't check our mail at 2 a.m. to see if maybe the nice postman came back and put mail in there. So what we ask the students to do is to either come tell us in person. After the quarantine, we're seeing a lot less of that. Students will rather just sit there and take the 0 than come talk to the teacher, or at least email the teacher. So a lot of teachers will even say that of, can you please email me and let me know that you turned that in? Because we'll have students here in the middle of class and I'm helping Mr. Roach and I'm doing something else, and someone will shout out from the room, I did that assignment 3 weeks late. Wait, what? Because all the assignments are building up since then. So that's what you might hear if it's, I did do it, it was a bit late and they still haven't graded it because the teacher has not gone back. There's several assignments since then and check that. Mr. Avdezi most likely has not gone back and checked any of these.
Guys, that is a great point and something that we want to teach our sixth grade students so that by eighth grade, they know to email their teachers. But if things are like happens, right? The content of the work that we're really kind of looking at. And that communication with the teacher is another skill that your kids need. Just to be able to communicate and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Whomever, I'm turning this in late, just wanted to let you know. It's a good skill, obviously, for the credit and the learning that's involved, but also to advocate for themselves. I think that's equally important skill as well.
And they can email the teacher right through Google Classroom.
I get emails from students all the time.
All right, so here's some resources for that for Google Classroom. I like always giving two options with everything. So here's PDF that's going to explain Google Classroom for you if you would rather work with that. And if you'd rather a video, this guy has a cool British accent and explains all of it to you in only 8 minutes. And then we also have the website or in the tech toolkit, some of those resources with that. Any questions though, right now where you can see both kind of the teacher and the student one? Does anyone have any questions about that? Yes, the teachers will go over that with them each year, but the sixth grade teachers do it quite a bit, right?
Absolutely, and I'm glad to hear you guys, that elementary schools are really kind of priming up for this. This should be a pretty great conversation. Yeah, that's great.
Sure.
Pretty simple things to download the classroom on the thing that you got.
Yeah, so like an iPad, you can access it from that. You can download that, and then for the rest of them, if it's a PC Chromebook, you just go to that website. Yes.
Any more questions, guys?
If I can show you with this, so I'm still on the student account. There's the to-do list. I'm not a fan of the to-do list because the problem with the to-do list, I'm clicking on it right now. It's going to show you all the work that is due. And it's a little tricky with this one because I added this today. So this student has all the assignments. But what will happen a lot of times, like in science in particular, they're still using handouts and things like that they have to manipulate with labs and different things like that. There's nothing digitally to turn in. So there won't be a specific turn in due date. So the to-do list will miss it. It won't quite catch that, sometimes they just need to, in history, we would have maps and things like that they just can't use digitally yet. It's still pretty cumbersome. So that's why I'm not a fan of the to-do list. The best practice with it is what Mr. Roach was referring to a minute ago. And what this gentleman brought up is I'm stealing the line from a parent that they'd said, I have a date with my kid every Monday night. And it's just sitting down before whatever treat, dessert, whatever. And you show me Google Classroom. You show me the week assignments. You show me, okay, I see you have this thing, this paper due. Let's take a look at it and see how much you have right there. That just those however many minutes, them explaining it to it. And then it's that student thing of, I do it all the time with my wife of, I don't understand how to put it in this garbage disposal. It doesn't make any sense. And then I'm complaining about it to her. And all of a sudden I realize, oh, they're talking about a standard screw and never mind. And that. So as your child explains it to you and all that good stuff, and you have those questions, that's the best.
Mr. Gamble, follow up because you're in classrooms all the time. Are there subjects that rely more heavily on the classroom technology than others? You mentioned science, a lot of labs, a lot of hands-on experiments.
Absolutely. History, it's going to be a lot of TCI. So you're going to see these sections are due, but they won't be turning that in through Google Classroom. It's back to they can mark as done or they cannot. And you might see that sometimes of, hey, wasn't this assignment due? How come you didn't do it? No, they did do it through TCI. They just didn't hit mark as done in Google, but the teacher won't be double checking that. That made sense in my head. Did it make sense out loud?
It did. So yeah, TCI, you guys is going to be pretty tech heavy. on their usage. Study Sync.
Math is, right? Yeah, Steady Sync is the same.
Yeah, but again, with Desmos, you guys, it's really gonna be a lot of in the classroom learning, so learning with the professional there. Who's gonna be able to help and support, and I think Desmos has really taken a step in the right direction in that. Homework shouldn't be there for the sake of homework, it should be for additional practice, and so if a student needs that additional practice, that will be communicated out. But the majority of the work is to be done in the classroom with the teacher, and then a lot of peer or collaborative learning after that point. Science is really hands-on,
Mhm.
a lot of writing, and so you'll monitor that a little bit differently than you will some of the more tech-heavy ones. You will get assignments in PE, especially when we talk about nutrition. They'll talk about like what kind of things are they ingesting, and they'll look at their diet, which is shocking. And they'll be able to kind of be, some of the areas that they can change to make them healthier. And then the other one is language arts study sync is
Yeah, I would say
kind of
that.
in between. They'll take books home for them to read during off times, but again, that's not going to be tech heavy.
And again, you're going to see a lot more unit projects where they'll say, well, I have a choice. I can either do it this way, this way, this way, or this way. And so a number of those will be digital, but we're always trying to build some other ways too, where they can do it physically. Some students still really enjoy that.
How much time do you think the kids in school have as active screen time? How many hours? To sort of put it in perspective and how much time they should get, we don't talk about it as much as we used to, but I'm sitting here and sort of getting a little anxious now, thinking how many hours they said you get screen time in school. But it's important that the technology, but I wish that, you have an idea how much there is actually screen time.
That's a very good question, and it's also a very tough question to answer. So at PGMS, you guys, the phones are gone. When they get into the building, they turn their phones off because that personal interaction, something that they're lacking over the pandemic for sure, needs to be rebuilt, especially in classrooms where there's private conversation and that kind of thing. So that's one of the things to remember. It really depends. As I walk around my classrooms, a lot of the learning involves conversation and involves students up out of their seats, around the room, writing, collaborating, discussing what's going on. So I don't want you to think that this is going to be some sort of study hall, in which case you see just like the screen on people's faces, that kind of stuff. It is not that way. There's always a conversation. These are in the same standards. Communication among students and between the teacher is absolutely in the standard, so it's something that we teach. Okay, so that's, I really want, let's just sell that rumor and kind of toss that away for right now. There are going to be points in which what we call independent practice, and so just give you a quick overview of teaching. It generally tends as a whole group and then a small group, and then independent practice. And some of that independent practice is going to be on the computer. The whole group and the small group is face to face, verbal. That makes sense?
Yeah, so history teacher, our book and the workbook are online. And our class periods are 49 minutes long. I would say a long class period where they're on the Chromebook would be 30 something minutes. And that'd be a long period. That would not be the average. Okay. So we're all, no more questions on, or any, I'm sure I skipped some things. There it is. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. So before school, very popular. The library is a very popular place. Before school, definitely. Anything they need to fix or do anything, print, whatever, they can come before school. Lunchtime, some kids work, the majority. Like Dungeons and Dragons and chats and stuff like that. And then after school, there's a big thing for you guys if you really want to go there. 4 days a week, we have a study hall. And so we man it with an avid tutor, so a college kid who's gone through the ranks and understands what it takes to be a college student. So they are there to kind of support students. It's not a tutorial, but it's a time for them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday for them to get all their, we talked about this, get all their stuff off their plates, and when they go home, get it done. Really, and while we have them, it's student best, we wanna make sure that, that they get whatever they need to be done while we have them, while we have eyes. That answer your question.
Okay, so now to the grade book. So Google Classroom, again, what the assignment is, how they turn it in. Now the assignment's done. Here's gradebook. So this is what Synergy gradebook will look like when you go in there. And so it has for all of you, if you've all many of you have just come from the elementary, you did not see this feature before. There was not a gradebook on there if you went in there. Now with secondary, because it's a whole different system, you will see that. So here's the class. You can click on the class there. There's the grade. You can click on that and see why. There it shows immediately if there's missing assignments. You can click on those missing assignments and look at it. And then they even have graphs that are built for you. I don't understand why, but they have them. You can access this on your phone, Synergy Gradebook, if you really, really want to get in there. And I won't be doing that with my children, but go to the App Store or on the Android and you can find it right there. It's called Parent View. Then you can, I took pictures of this on my phone and there's my twins right there. Here's the notification and we can tell as teachers who has that. See right here, I blew this one up for you, magnified it rather for you. The notifications, you can set it right there that if your child gets anything below 100%, you are notified immediately. That was the part that Mr. Roach just beat me to, that we can see that I will enter grades and we'll start seeing an email roll in. That's like, I know where you went. That's where you would have that feature to do that if you want. Again,
Guys, fluctuates like the stock market. So if you were to watch the stock market on a daily basis, and so we really don't recommend the daily, the minutes. Some parents that check every 30 minutes or something like that. Don't do that. Because you have to take into account that teachers are adding things all the time. And you don't want to be patient in that kind of thing. So I would not set a notification of 100%. I would wait, and also know you guys that we're an RTI school. So we contact students who are a little bit scared and do not let them to be marked, and that outreach. Second thing, I really want you guys to know this. We are a semester student, which means that we have quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. The quarter 1 grade is effectively on your students are doing on semester together. Okay, quarter 3 is also a problem for your students in the second semester. So if you get those 2 audits or whatever grade in quarter 1, is that in time? No, they have plenty of time to change. Great conversation at home, but they have plenty of time to change it. So really want you guys to know that the grades that follow your students semester grades. Mr. I'm sorry, Director. Oh yes. Excellent. Thank you.
I'm gonna leave by you.
One of the other things that happens too, I can say that from the teacher side, is we're entering grades and going, that assignment was terrible. I made it worth 16 points. I'm going to drop it now down to that. Or other times Synergy and Google like to fight with each other. Everyone has to use Google. It's kind of like the plumbing outside. Google's the main pipe. If they change stuff, it'll reflect on all the other ones, the other websites. So sometimes we'll get weird stuff that comes up with it and the teachers will have to go back there. So my point with that is just, if you, again, why to not turn on that notification, because you'll get stuff that the teacher will then go back into after they enter all the grades and change it or modify it. Or then we have to contact Synergy and say something's coming up with the grades right there.
Yeah.
So that's another plea to not use that feature.
And if I can jump in real quick and be close to the microphone so everybody can hear. You guys at the middle school, our ethos here at this school is we are not about grades. We're not about 4.0. We're not about any of that stuff. We're about the learning. And the middle school is a prime place to build the skills necessary for high school, college, and beyond. Does that make sense? Okay, so if your student works their tail off and gets a C-, good on them. Good on them for doing that. Okay, because it's really about the learning and building those skills necessary for them to be successful throughout their educational career and life as well. That's something I believe very, very much. Sorry.
Okay, so back to Synergy. One of the other things, like I talked about at the very beginning, Synergy and Google claim they can do each other's jobs, and they can't really. You'll see this feature on Synergy, upcoming assignments. Please do not use that. For upcoming assignments, anyone remember what website we beg you to go to? Google Classroom, thank you. That's where to go. Synergy claims they can do it. They cannot. That's if a teacher sits there at the very beginning before the semester and enters every single assignment. And our teachers are great. They're not going to do that because sometimes all of your children are geniuses. And if they gave them that extra assignment with blah, 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 they'd just be wasting time and they wouldn't get to more cool stuff at the end of that. So they're going to wait and see how they're doing with that instead of just adding all the assignments. So that's why we don't do that at the very beginning of it. To use Synergy, if you have not, you're going to go back to the district website. Again, that's just pgusd.org. Go to parents, and then you're going to go right over here on this side. You see parent Synergy view. And then this is going to be different. Parents will get confused by this sometimes. And I used to wonder, how come they do that? And then I have children and I started using theirs and I got it switched all the time and was saying, how come it won't let me access it? Because I clicked on the wrong one. But so here's your parent view login, and that's the student login. They're very similar, but there's some little differences there. And then Mr. Binder added some of these features as well to help you, like a walkthrough if you want to go to that. Any questions on any Synergy stuff so far?
It's a lot.
It is a lot to go to Synergy. Most likely, if you've enrolled your children in the school, you've used it. I was going to use it, but my twins, to get there, they're in 5th grade, so it does not show you anything. I thought it would be kind of confusing, but we have. If you go, besides, if you go to this, you see all the pictures of it. So this is kind of what Mr. Roach was talking about there. So PGMS, we do the semester grading. So we take the 2 quarters and we add them together. When you look at it though, on the grade, when you go through Synergy, quarter 1 and quarter 2 are in semester 1, and it just kind of picks up after quarter 1. So you'll have quarter 1 on there, but then if you look at it, they're all in semester 1. So that's how the grading kind of Synergy treats it. And then Mr. Roach is the stuff that you all mentioned already, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I know this is, I want to make sure everybody online can hear. I know this is a little bit scary, but it is the time to begin that gradual. It really is. If they mess up, that's absolutely fine because they're going to the skills that they're learning. And the middle school is a great place to mess up. I have yet to find a college that goes back to middle school grades for their kids, right? So this is a really good time for them to fall out of. I had 3 of my kids come through this district and they fallen and got up. 2 are in college, 1 in high school. So it's gonna work. Synergy in the stock market, I kind of talked about that. Please don't be one of those just, constantly monitors, because it can drive you nuts. And it may create a bit of a cranky relationship between you and your students. I really recommend setting a regular time to chat with your students. Monday night seems like a really good time, sometimes Friday. But Monday is good because you get that weekend at once. You get to kind of see what's up and you help them prioritize the learning that needs to happen by Tuesday and the learning that happens 2 weeks from now. Help them chip away. You know what I mean? Instead of waiting like Mr. Gamble and myself until the Thursday night and it's due Friday morning with this big boulder on your shoulder. Don't do that. Teach them to chip away at it a little bit every time. Their social emotional health will improve and they'll feel better about themselves academically. And then allow some time for grading, you guys. We do our darndest to get the grades in a week or so. Essay, obviously, if one of my teachers has 130 essays to grade, really are. Okay, and then that feedback and that process, the importance of students or the teachers really want to take time to give that actual feedback to your students. So it's not about, needing some sort of deadline. It's about your student understanding some feedback, making those corrections. to make it better.
That's it.
Questions? Yes, they do. They do. Yes.
It's a website that they're gonna go to, but they'll, a lot of the students like during class all know to go here and then they'll click on student view and we have, we have Clever that will log them in immediately to that. So one of the students' favorite things when they have free time is to just sit there and just refresh it. Refresh and see if Gamble's finally,
Yeah.
great question.
For them checking their own grades and progress.
Precisely.
I had a kid at
Yes.
Roundup today checking their grades. Yeah, and Clever, by the way, you guys, is a portal that takes them to TCI and StudySync and all these different things that they'll use on site. You'll get familiar with it at home, right? They can access. Clever.
Yeah, no, they can. Mr. Binder worked on that all summer. Yes, absolutely.
More questions, guys? What's a lot? Yeah. We use both, and we use both well with that gradual release. So, they will write, many times the objective is when you give some class, they say, this is what we're gonna learn, this is how we're gonna demonstrate the learning, and use the step we want to take. They don't take that time to be in the class. To do that. But there's also a digital backup, and our goal is to remember that, have it line that you can implement. That's what we're going to see in high school. Good question.
I almost put a slide of it and I didn't. Google Classroom claims to have a grading part for teachers to grade online. And again, they do not. Some teachers will use it, but most do not. So again, if you see Google, teachers will grade it, but then they'll put it on Synergy. And then if you look at the parent Google Classroom, we've had parents ask that, how come there's no grades on that? Because we don't grade on Google Classroom, we grade on that. Google Classroom grading on it, it's either, it's only up to 100 points. They have not let us modify it, so every assignment we would make would have to be over 100 points and we would have some
Absolutely, it would, yeah.
panic.
It's, yes.
Sorry, I didn't listen, but how do we get logins as parents in the Google Classroom and that stuff? Is there-
It'll, the office, our staff, if you've signed up for that, they'll
That's the registration process.
precisely.
Oh, that comes in the folder.
Yes,
In the folder.
it'll come in there and then you can. In the past,
Trying to change it, but each time I love it, not to check the grades, but I thought it was important that I asked. So I'm just still assigned under my kids.
Yeah.
Write it down.
so it should have you in there as that. But again, we would really recommend you log in as your child. They can give you their login information. Or you can sit there on the Monday night and do that.
I'm sorry, so what do I need to do now to have the right ask? Just write with my kids? Is that it?
Just
No,
log,
I-
you can do that and the parent's just going to give you a very large overall. You can see if it's turned in or not. And that's kind of the problem we talked about of, well, you turned in this assignment, but I don't see anything there. So have him show you
What about
this.
this parent?
This.
Yeah.
You go to the district.
Not that I know.
You know, the issue with that,
Yeah.
and I hope I'm being loud enough, the issue with that is because we have not had to stay at school.
Okay.
Your information would migrate in that. So technically, not technically, you're mine now. But that's one of the synergies. You're still in those ones.
But I thought that our intention was that we should download it or we won't have that QR code, so I did that.
For those who haven't had it.
Okay.
Our ed tech district director is wonderful about pushing that information to, especially for students who are migrating. To the middle and then.
Don't worry about it. I don't have.
No, I am,
Don't want to miss that opportunity for students to show them this. And give you that.
So there's four main platforms, that's right, so Google Classroom, Synergy,
Mhm.
the history one and the math one.
And the math one and studies,
And there's a studies, which is what studies?
17th language arts.
And so there's three other, four plus these two.
Yeah, you get some Google Classroom for PE, like I talked about with the nutrition, you'll get study sync, you'll get TCI, it's language arts guide. TCI is your history. That's most for math you get, but again, it's really mostly for the classroom, maybe a little independent practice. And then science, you get some stuff pushed out of Google Classroom, majority is gonna be hands-on labs, experiments, that kind of stuff, so. It's a changing time in ed, you know, the old days of a big fat backpack on home.
Textbooks.
You will have a classroom set of textbooks, but by and large, it's to be accessed by. Yes, I saw a hand up here, yeah.
They're the same, but if they understand they're learning from the very, they'll be able to find all their learning.
Absolutely, so but there's new to the district getting assigned all the login credentials, so that's part of the registration process. And then our sixth grade teachers, or if you're new to the district, will walk you through that process, because it'll be a very introductory, because it's a big change, you guys, from elementary school. And so it's the introductory, you know, steps, and stuff, and so it's a model for that teacher will kind of show them where to find things, but continue to support that. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Good question, really good question.
and it'll stay the same login. We try to use just one login, so it's always the whatever your child's Google login is. That'll be the same thing for TCI, for all those others, so they do not need to memorize 16 different logins.
I believe that login even works for break time and lunchtime for food,
Does it?
which is free by the way, this year. Yeah, I think it's gonna be free forever. Hopefully. Any other questions, guys? I think you're ready for the test. Should we administer it?
Let's do it.
Okay.
They look ready.
Everybody grab out the. No, I'm just kidding.
We have a Scantron that we found in the back that we're gonna throw that on there.
It's just starting in the dark. Well, guys, if I don't have any questions, thank you so much for coming tonight. So this presentation in its presentation form will be uploaded to the website as well as the recording.
This presentation already is.
And the recording of this evening in Spanish subtitles will also be this. Really super happy. We hope we helped you guys out a little bit and give you some knowledge. Don't worry, this is not a one and done. We're always going to be here for you guys, and super excited about this. So thank you guys for coming. Take care.
Boy. Hold on, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, I'll see you soon. I want you in a class.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
I need to get.
Like from school? Yeah, No, they even staff.
This is like this.
Oh, which do I go for?
No, you.
Teachers do, yes. If teachers see a student's cell phone, they
And
confiscate it.
culturally, like if you see somebody try
Yes.
to like do this.
Even in the hallways, they police it.
Okay,
But
that's
if it's at the classroom, they take the phone.
That's awesome. That's really great to hear. Thank you very much.
Airborne, can I just point out that my dad was 82nd. But we went to the Airborne Museum and my nephews got a sticker and they put it on my laptop and I go, you can't do that, dude. And they're like, why? I'm like, my airborne, you can't do it. And they go, nothing's gonna happen to it. And I'm talking, I look over, I'm like.
All the information.
I'm just sitting there like, that doesn't have wings. I'm gonna take it.
Yes. It's funny because. Teachers aren't smart. I can say this also. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Take ownership.
That's great. Where are you guys from?
That's good.
If I need to.
Okay.
Yeah, military, so I've kind of been everywhere.
Cool.
Absolutely. So your case is captive, right? Okay, if not, don't worry.
Okay.
Oh, it's.
Cassie's gonna be your contact.
Yeah. Are you?
She's gonna be your number one.
My brother did army, his little brother did army.
Yeah, yeah, our family, we're both kind of mixed army. Yeah.
Father-in-law, Air Force.
Food question.
Yeah, so, great, yeah.
You guys all ask great questions. Thanks.
I do have a question.
Yesterday.
Home base and stuff, are
You
there any
said
that you would like to check out?
Thank you.
Lunches.
Yes,
and it
yes, you
said-
can.
Yeah, a bunch of kids at home, maybe. Yeah.
So absolutely. So if you go to the front office and just ask them, you can even do it now, you can come tomorrow and ask, and we have, they'll just give, if we have enough of the newer ones, give you one of those, and if not, then we take one of the slightly older ones. And if you ever gets taken to it, they're like, yeah, that's funny.
Okay.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Yes. I was looking to make sure that it was.
High school and.
Do this, but.
So that's not that.
We're not.
So it's just.
You lost that doctor.
Fighting over there.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know this. I don't know how. Oh, no, that's. We just left. They have a very.
Don't worry. Your student comes in and they're coloring. Back with the checks.
Okay, but.
Down, they can see air.
Guys,
Yeah.
So.
My daughter who's in high school. My son, who's an eighth grader, he's the one. He likes
So they're.
games
Sure,
and stuff.
sure.
And they can watch it. Oh, hey, you noticed that Noah was on the computer for 3 hours. 2.5 hours, he was on Minecraft.
So we have, yeah, if they log in through their student login, we can see everything they do, and they can shut it down. And they can get flagged, yeah. They pay attention to the hours though, so if it's like after 3 o'clock, they're like, yeah. I'll touch it.
So,
So-
yeah.
Alright. Yes, we're gonna have to set that up.
Yes, please.
Sometime.
Now, we're in school, yeah, there you go. Yeah, they'll be there. on time.
Yeah, of course. For us more than you.
Okay.
Doesn't affect.
But so if we don't qualify. It's good to do it. All right. Yeah,
Got it.
I'm, no, I'm like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like. I was joking, I'm like, there's nothing, I'm like, bye guys, you know, and this, I'm like. Which is great. I mean, that helps a little bit.
It would be a reclassification, so that takes from each at a time, but I would get it. So. Yeah, really get into a lot of it's gonna be like, how do you do this, how do you do this, expectations, the rules. We don't have a learning. And then when the learning comes, that's when the data's gonna show us. Doing fine.
Yeah, right. You just have to add it with this, dialogue when we see.
Anything other than just.
Because as they have read to the same level, it seems fine.
Seems, exactly, so this
Yeah.
applies to both of you.
Yeah.
Right? So if it's
Exactly.
if it's beyond that. Just email me first and I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
But it's important that we get it. We release this count. It's gotta be really. If there aren't any seeds, there's nothing wrong with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if they're. We need to reprogram them into a different, something that meets their learning.
Okay, that sounds great.
Good,
I'll give
good.
it back.
No,
Okay.
nice to see you.
Yeah. Nice to see you.
That's Good to know. Good, okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Roach, I did have a question. So.
Questions are done.
Sorry, okay, we're done.
You guys have, after window. Ask the questions, over. What's your question?
So we do have a person by plan, but
We'll meet behind the person.
so is that what you do? I haven't sent it to anybody or haven't. So you receive it from the other side.
Yeah, where you guys
Came from
from?
Nebraska.
Okay, cool.
So you guys will receive that.
So
from
what
them.
happens when you register, that triggers us to get. School, or queue file, the queue to file. Information on. those. Michael Bush is.
Right.
Which will trigger us. and review.
Right.
That'll let us know this is a 501 student. The 504 as is.
Mhm.
Then we're kind of taking. Additions needed or.
Yeah, that thing ours is it's no minimum now and our minimum.
What's the diagnosis?
Yeah, but I don't even really say
How
that
does he do
he-
social?
he's totally fine. It's more ADHD.
Okay.
So we don't even talk about autism
Is he actually,
or,
doing well?
yeah, he does really well. It's just the focus. You know, he more needs to move around once in a while.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we kind of do too.
That's good. Get him out.
Yeah, so he's doing really well. So there are some things that I would more than I teachers. So
That's-
you're seeing.
That's good. So you know the 504, right?
Yeah.
You see what he needs and what he doesn't.
And I'm like all about if the teacher thinks it's better, then
Yeah.
try it and kind of go from there.
So we're kind of, they call it restrictive environment.
Right.
So we are all about supporting students who struggle with those who don't identify a big gap between what they can do and what they are doing.